Okay. So, welcome everyone for today's Bhagavad Gita session. Um, we'll be continuing from where we left. That was from the last verse of second chapter of 72nd verse. So before that, I'll just recap few things. Um, this particular section that we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, from the second chapter, is where Arjuna has heard the initial second chapter part of from Krishna, and in the last, after hearing from Krishna, he first asked Krishna many questions. Many questions he asked. Like in the first chapter, he asked, uh, there will be this war that he's going to fight, will be destroying, will be ghastly destroying, and he gives many reasons. He gives reasons that why should I kill my own family members? Then why should I kill people who are my own kinsmen? And that when we kill men, what will happen to the families? What will happen to the women? What will happen to the children? They will be all unprotected. The children, they won't have any guidance because seniors are not there. Forefathers will fall down because Pindadan won't be done. And then community projects, where family welfare activities, they all will be destroyed because elders are not there. And when elders are not there, there is no wise person talking there. So that's why so many problems are there. And personally, I don't want to fight because it is um, you know why to take part in this sinful activity where there is destruction of family, there's destruction of property, there's destruction of everything. My own people, why should I kill my own grandfather, teacher? Like these questions he asked in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna, he explained that whatever decision we take in our life, we should take it from the perspective of our real self. Real self means at this present, we are identifying with our external body. I'm Mr. So and so. I'm Mr. Rahul Agarwal. I am a PhD. I am a CEO of a company. I'm a chief minister of a nation. Like that. So this all identification is there, but this identification ends at the time of death. And then that particular identification was never there at the time of birth also. We acquire it over the period. And then at the time of death, it ends. So then what is the real reality? So Krishna talks about this real reality. He says that when we take birth, our body is small. When we grow, our body keeps growing. And when we become old, our body dwindles. And then at the end, there is death. So there is something within our body, which is a spiritual spark, which is the Atma, the soul, which never dies, which goes from one body to another within one life. And at the time of death, it moves into another body. It's just like changing clothes. And we discussed many scientific proofs about it. Just like, there's reincarnation. People remember successfully, they are very vividly their past life. So it tells that definitely we are different than our body. We are able to observe our mind. There is out of body experiences, near death experiences. So all these things tend to say that yes, the soul does exist. The soul is spirit in spiritual nature. Therefore, any material apparatus device cannot really detect it. It is understood by inferences from reincarnation, out of body experiences, intuitive understanding, where we say, my body means me and my body is different. When we say my car, me and my car is different. Similarly, when we say my body and me are different. So similarly, what is different in us? The owner of the body is the soul, which is giving consciousness and all. So he talks about this. Then he talks about that this soul, whatever activities one does, he gets the new body. And the goal of the soul is to stop this cycle of getting new bodies and enter into the spiritual realm for eternity. That is the main goal. So from that perspective, you decide how to act in this war. Otherwise, we are caught in this cycle of birth and death. Okay, so we can correct our actions by which we will have no more death and no more birth also. So in this whole section, he talks about a lot of knowledges like Gyan Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga. And at the end, when he's talking about Jivan Mukta soul means one who is self-realized. Self-realized means he understood that he is not the body but the soul, and he's in samadhi or in divine consciousness. Such a person, how does he, how does, what are his general symptoms? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? So these are the questions Arjuna asked in the 54 to 54th verse of the second chapter. So this is the section we are going through, and we went through how, what are his general symptoms. So we'll just quickly go over few of the general symptoms so that yeah. So general symptoms is he's not disturbed even in mind in fold of so he's not disturbed, he's equipoised, he's free from attachment, fear and anger, he's a sage of steady mind. How does he sit? So how does he sit means in the yogic stance or in the yogic life, um how does he control his senses? That is the question. So um when he says how does he speak, hmm, then basically we speak when we are in praise, blame, affection or hate, right? If someone is praising, we speak. If someone blames us, we speak back. If someone gives affection, we speak. If someone gives hate to us, we speak back, right? So that is what the actually question means. And how does it sit? Sit means we are surrounded by sense objects. Sense objects means objects for our senses. What are all our senses? Eyes, nose, tongue, touch. So all these senses are all around us. Uh, how does one respond to these senses? And then he says, how does he walk? How does he walk also means how does he respond to his senses? And how does he sit means he restrains his senses from the sense objects. So in this regard, Krishna says, how does he restrains? He restrains just like a tortoise. Let's see if I have the picture. Okay, I didn't. Let's take help of Google. Tortoise injection. I think I. Okay. So if you see this tortoise is outside the shell and then inside the shell. When it is inside the shell, it is protected by the shell. So when the sense objects are there, these sense objects pull us in every direction. Like I'll show you a picture. They pull us. The eyes, the nose, the touch, the tongue, they pull us. And I had shown this last time, this cartoon. The sense objects, the mind, it contemplates on the sense object. It thinks about it like somebody, this is a cartoon on, iPad, iPhone. So they think, oh, this is the greatest thing. They keep contemplating it. They keep looking at it. They keep searching for it. They develop attachment for it. Once developed, they develop a desire to acquire it. And when they acquire it, everyone praises them. And then next year, a new iPad or iPhone is released. And then he thinks, oh, they are 4G, I am just 3G. They are 5G, but I am just 4G. So then he forgets what is to be done, what is not to be done. He tries to get the new 4G iPad. And then in that, he tries to sell everything. He tries to sell his family members and all that. Actually, one of the person, boy, he sold his kidney to get an iPhone. That was the news some few years back. So basically he bewilders into his memory and he loses intelligence and then he falls down. I'm in meeting. Okay. Okay, sorry. So basically he loses his intelligence and then he falls down into material pool. So this is how a Sthita Pragya avoids this fall down. And he goes into a tortoise mode where um where if there are sense objects which are disturbing, he just takes it inside. And he uses sense objects only for the minimum, only for the basic things. So what do we need? We need for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, right? We need our senses for eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Okay. So how much do we need to eat? If a lot of food is kept, we will eat what is needed, right? And he eats what is nourishing. If there are any questions or comments, just you can interrupt me. Eat needs nourishing, whatever keeps the body healthy. Okay. And there is in the 17th chapter, Krishna says that all requires just vegetarian food, actually, grains and milk. And then sleeping, again, the most thing is what is needed, not too much. How much is needed? Like 7 to 8 hours. Some are sometimes sleep or even so 6 hours are enough. Mating, only that which is needed in family life to have children. And defending is only how much is needed. So the point is to keep the body and soul together. The tortoise looks out, comes out of the shell and eats and then goes back into the shell. So this is how a sthita pragya, a self-realized soul, uh, controls himself. Okay. So yeah. So he's a man of steady intelligence. Hmm. This we read. Okay. Now going back. Hmm. So unless one is having steady intelligence, there is no possibility of peace. So to have peace, there should be steady mind. Agreed? If there is a stress in the mind, it will disturb us, right? Similarly, if the mind is steady, then we would be peaceful. That's a simple thing in says. And then anyone senses anyone senses are enough to to uh, you know to take us away, to make us defocus, to make us defocused. Now, so if one is not disturbed by the incessant flows of desires, by the power of spiritual knowledge, then he can achieve peace. And in this way, he will attain real peace and he will give up sense of proprietorship, sense gratification, devoid of false ego. And this is today's verse that we have come, took a time to come. Esha Brahmi Sthitha Partha Nainam Prapa Vimuhati Sthitavasyam Antakale Api Brahma Nirvanam Richati. Brahma Nirvanam Richati. So Here Krishna is saying that is the way of. So if somebody lives a Sthita Pragya life, then that is a spiritual and a godly life. And what is the goal of this? What will one achieve? After attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is the situated even at the hour of death. So even at the time of death, one is not disturbed. Death is such a thing that disturbs everybody, right? Recently, uh, the famous investor in India, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, he died, right? Few months back. So he was saying that I got everything in life except my health. And his health became so deteriorated that comparatively at the age of like 60 plus or something, he left his body where he could have lived for more 10 years or 20 years. So he understood that. So at the time of death, he was also worried. His thousands of crores of investments couldn't save him. So what to speak of, common people, they are also disturbed, right? At the time of that, some people, they beg, give me just 1 hour or 1 year to live, right? But a spiritual person, he knows what is happening at the time of death. What is happening at the time of death? One is simply moving from one body to another. And because he has not developed attachment, or he has given up attachment for the present possessions, he's not worried at the time of death. And therefore he can enter into the kingdom of God, means for eternal Brahma Nirvanam. He can return to the spiritual realm and never come back. So in this chapter, second chapter, it's called summarization of Bhagavad Gita. This second chapter is named as summarization. So a lot of things are spoken in it. And therefore, a particular question Arjuna is going to ask in the very first verse of the third chapter. But before we go there, let's finish this second chapter for 72nd verse. Any questions or comments at this point? Any questions or comments? I just tried to bring all of us on the same page.
No, it's fine right now.
Okay, sure. So all these concepts that are there in second chapter, they get expanded in the later chapters. So all these things will come back again, but they'll come in much more detail, much more clarity, because Arjuna is going to ask some questions. So let's read the purport. One can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once, within a second, or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. It is only a matter of understanding and accepting the fact. Khatwanga Maharaj. So there is a story called of Khatwanga Maharaj many ages ago. He he attained this state of Sthita Pragya, and he attained it only few minutes before his death. So for many lifetimes, actually years, he fought for the demigods, and there the time is too big. So by the time he came to this material world, earth, everything had passed away. His family members, everyone had gone. So so then he was thinking what to do. So then he had this question, oh, when will I die? What is the time period? So the demigods, they know. So they said, oh, you have only few minutes. So in that few minutes, he meditated on Krishna and he perfected his life. That is the story. Khatwang Maharaj attained this state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering onto Krishna. Nirvana, you must have heard this word in Buddhist philosophy also. Nirvana means what? It means ending the materialistic life. According to Buddhist philosophy, there is only void after the completion of this material life. So there is a difference between Buddhist philosophy and Bhagavad Gita philosophy. Buddhist philosophy says nirvana means you will end your material life, you'll end your life, and then there will be void, means zero, shunya. But Bhagavad Gita says no, you will actually go into the spiritual realm, and there you will continue to live. So you won't become zero. So that is the difference between Shunyavad Buddhist philosophy and Bhagavad Gita philosophy, Vedic philosophy. So we need to understand this thing, that Buddhist philosophy is a atheistic philosophy. It doesn't tell about God or eternal life. It just says that okay, you will become void, you'll become zero. But Bhagavad Gita teaches differently. Actual life begins after completion of this material life. For the gross materialistic, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one is fortunately become Krishna consciousness, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana. So if one becomes Krishna consciousness, he attains Brahma Nirvana. There is no difference between kingdom of God and devotional service to the of the Lord. Since both of them are on the absolute platform, to be engaged in a transcendental loving service of the Lord is to be attained the spiritual kingdom. I'll explain this sentence. It has a deep meaning. In the material world, there are activities of sense gratification, whereas in the spiritual world, there are activities of Krishna consciousness. Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediate attainment of Brahman. And one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. Brahman is just opposite of matter. So Brahman is spiritual realm. So it is antimatter. It is beyond matter. Therefore, Brahma Sthiti means not on the platform of material activity. Devotional service to the Lord is accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as liberated state. Sagunan samyetan Brahma bhuya kalpate. Therefore, Brahma Sthiti is liberation from material bondage. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarized this second chapter of Bhagavad Gita as the contents of the whole text. In the Bhagavad Gita, subject matters are Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Okay, these are the three subject matters. In the second chapter, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga have clearly been discussed. Karma Yoga has been discussed where Krishna says you have to do it as your duty. You have to do it without attachment, and you have to surrender. You have to offer your results in the as a fruit to the supreme. Gyan Yoga is you need to understand that you're not the body, but there's a soul. So the knowledge of the supreme, that is also Gyan Yoga. And a little glimpse of Bhakti Yoga has been given. And these are the contents of the complete text. Okay. So I went a little faster, but chapter 3 is where I wanted to go. So we are in chapter 3 now, Karma Yoga. It's called Karma Yoga. Now, there is a particular verse that Krishna spoke in chapter 2 that creates confusion to Arjuna. What was it? Durena hi avaram Krishna. So in the 49th verse, Krishna says, Durenam iti avaram Krishna buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddho sharanam anivachcha kripanaha phala hetava. So what he says, Dhananjaya means Arjuna, O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant from devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy fruits of their works are misers. So hearing this, Arjuna says, abominable activities. Avaram karma means abominable activity. Abominable activities means which are ghastly, which will end up in terrible things. So definitely a war ends up in a very ghastly end, right? So Arjuna was thinking, oh, I have to keep this war activity far away from me. And then I have to do devotion service and surrender to the Lord. That is the best. But Krishna is saying, oh, you need to do your duty also. And you need to fight. Like he says this. Let's say fight. Oh, there's a lot of fight. Okay. Maybe I should just look at the translation. He says, 18th verse, he says, therefore fight, O descendant of Bharata. So Krishna says, fight also. There is no better engagement for you than fighting. Fighting opportunity comes unsought, opening the doors of the heavenly planets. It is a religious duty to fighting. And your reputation is also a fighter. Okay. So many days Krishna is saying, and then in 37 verses says, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight and seek for the fighting. So after saying all these things, um, in the very in the 49th verse, he says, keep the abominable activities far. So Arjuna is thinking that fighting itself is abominable. It is a very ghastly activity. It is a very, it's not a sweet activity. You have to kill somebody. And when and that somebody happens to be your own grandfather and teacher, then it is very terrible, right? It is impossible activity. So for him, the abominable activity is to fight. And Krishna, till now, he's saying fight, fight, fight. And now he's saying keep it away. This is how Arjuna is thinking. So Arjuna asked this question in the 3rd chapter. Arjuna Vacha, Jayasi chet karmasata te mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojassi keshava. See, he uses the word ghore. Ghore means ghastly, abominable. So he's saying, oh Janardhan, Janardhan is another name of Krishna, Keshava is another name of Krishna. Why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So again, Krishna used the word intelligence. Okay. Buddhi, Buddhi Yogat, Buddho, Buddhi Yogat. So Arjuna is saying, you're telling me to use my Buddhi and you're telling to keep this ghastly warfare away. At the same time, you're telling me 9 times to fight. What do you actually mean? Why you want me to fight when it is ghastly and when it doesn't, my intelligence doesn't say that, it is the right thing to do. Therefore, why you want me to fight? Are you getting this question that Arjuna is asking? Yes.
Yes, bro.
Okay. It's a very interesting question. Today, if a war happens, almost everyone think why we should fight. Agree? So even in this war, Arjuna is thinking why we should fight. And he almost decided not to fight. Today we are hearing about Ukraine and Russia war, and a lot of people are saying it's unnecessary. Some are saying it's necessary. We are looking at the results. It's a ghastly war. So many Russians are dying, so many Ukrainians are dying, right? Economy is in problem. It is so much in problem that today companies are laying off also. Why? Because they had projected business would grow after COVID. COVID has gone. It has reduced drastically all over the world. But because of one war, food prices have gone up, and petrol prices have gone up. So intelligence says we should not fight, right? So then Arjuna is saying, why Krishna, you are telling me to fight? Now regarding Ukrainian-Russian war, it is not a fight for a very just reason. It is a fight for very political reasons. Okay. But in this war that we are talking about, Mahabharat, it was fight for the right reasons. What were the right reasons? Duryodhan wanted to kill the Pandavas. He poisoned them. He put them in a home which was full of wax and then burnt it. He sent them to exile. He insulted them. He insulted their wife, Draupadi. He put them into exile for 14 years. And when they came back, he was not ready to give back their kingdom. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj thought that, okay, he's not ready to give back. Why we should fight? Let's ask only for 5 villages. 5 brothers, 5 villages. Villages, not even towns or city. Villages. That also he rejected. He said, I'm not going to give a tip of land or a land which is equal to a tip of a needle. I'm not going to give that. And he tried to capture Krishna. So many bad things he did. So therefore he had to be removed, right? Therefore he had to be removed. So this war was just war. And then Krishna here he's saying to fight. At the same time he's saying use your intelligence. Arjuna is saying, my intelligence is saying I should not fight. And why, Krishna, you are telling me to fight? That is the point. Now this chapter will elaborate this thing. Okay, let's get into it. The Supreme Person of Godhead, Shri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter with the view of delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. And the path of realization has been recommended. Buddhi Yoga. See, the word Buddhi, intelligence, is there. And actually, it means Krishna consciousness also. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. Inertia means, what does inertia means? Tendency to do nothing. So sometimes spiritual life is considered to be inertia. Kuch mat karo, shanti se baitho. Right? But the biggest book on spirituality is Bhagavad Gita. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, what happened? What did Arjuna do? शांति से बैठ गए वो कुरुक्षेत्र में, भाग गए कुरुक्षेत्र से. Yeah, what did he do? What did he do? What happened after Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad, yeah, tell me.
He fought a war.
Yes, the war continued. Like this Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the very first hour of the war, and I will tell you. Today is December, right? December 2023 calendar. Today's what date? 2nd. Okay. On 3rd is Gita Jayanti. Tomorrow. This is the day Gita was spoken by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. 10 days before that, the war started. And that is the day Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. So 10 days before tomorrow was the exact day, 5,000 years ago, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on a battlefield, not at home or in a temple, on a battlefield. So battle had already done 10 days, and Bhishma, he gets defeated today. And tomorrow, Sanjaya returns to Hastinapur, that is Delhi, from Kurukshetra, and he tells the same Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra, the blind king. And then the war continues for next 10 days, and it ends about December 10th or 11th. Or sorry,
So
18 days the war went actually. 18 days. Yeah, tell me.
I guess uh, I just got one doubt here.
Sure, sure.
You said that after 10 days, Sanjay, I mean, told Gita to Dhritarashtra.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when he explained Gita to Dhritarashtra, so it means before that he was there on the war, or what, he was where he.
Yes, yes. So Sanjaya, he was a charioteer of Bhishma Pitama's chariot. Bhishma
Okay,
Pitama got defeated by Arjuna and slept on the arrow bed, right?
okay,
That happened on the 10th day of the war.
okay. Then after that
Then
he went to.
Sanjaya had nothing to do there. So he
Hmm,
returned to Dhritarashtra, who was in Hastinapur, Delhi.
hmm.
And that day he spoke the Bhagavad Gita that we are reading, where Dhritarashtra, looking at him, asked, what happened? What happened in the war? What happened at Kurukshetra? Tell me. What did they do?
But you said that, I mean, this was like, it looks like when we started Bhagavad Gita, it looks like that Sanjay was sitting in with Dhritarashtra, and
Yes.
he was able to,
Yeah,
see the
right.
Kurukshetra there.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
how it is that?
So, so before he was able to telecast it, no, this is the discussion that happened with Dhritarashtra. When Sanjay came in the morning to Dhritarashtra to
Hmm,
greet him,
hmm.
Dhritarashtra's first question was him this. And then Sanjay said, oh no, the war happened. And the very first hour, Bhagavad Gita was spoken. And he tells these 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. And after that, he starts saying what happened. or or
I'm still
or
confused.
or what is happening on the battlefield?
Yes, so but that was, I mean, when the like the way the first text in the Bhagavad Gita is written, is looks like that he was live presenting, like he was able to see the, and that was, I guess, that's what the power that Sanjaya has also, right? That he can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
far beyond.
I understand your question, but Sri Vaishnava Acharya, he did his research, and it is also said that Sanjaya was the charioteer of Bhishma. So
Mm-hmm.
he was present at the time the war was there, and Bhishma fell on the 10th day. After that, Sanjay didn't continue fighting. He returned to Hastinapur. So this is the conclusion. So for the
Okay,
first,
so
yeah,
mhm.
for the first 10 days, Dhritarashtra kept getting news, okay, through other sources. He,
Okay, yeah,
he
right.
didn't get the news of Bhagavad Gita. He got it only from Sanjaya.
Mhm. So at least these things clear out that if someone asks that how Krishna was in the battlefield, and how do the people know what Bhagavad Gita was told. So basically, there was Sanjaya who was actually there, and he was able to hear that. And one more doubt here, like why
Hmm.
Sanjaya was only able to hear the Bhagavad Gita? Because he was in
Oh,
battlefield,
so
and
actually, Sanjaya is not the only one. Everyone heard the Bhagavad Gita.
how is it? So Bhishma
Yeah.
Pitama and everyone
Ah,
was
yeah,
hearing
everyone,
that out.
everyone heard. Everyone heard.
I
It,
see.
it,
So because
Krishna spoke to Arjuna Bhagavad Gita in approximately 45 minutes.
Mhm.
So 45 minutes he spoke and everyone heard. Um, Sanjaya, who was there as the charioteer of Bhishma, he also heard it. So
I see.
there is some mysticism also. How how crores of people could hear, and at that point,
Exactly,
I
yeah.
have no explanation for that because this is Krishna, right? He's the supreme person of Godhead. He could he could make everybody hear. That is there.
Yeah, yeah. That can be understood. I mean, he is a supreme God. He can do whatever he want to. So
Yeah.
basically, what my point was, like when if someone asked me that Krishna was, speaking Bhagavad Gita on a battlefield, and no one, how does Dhritarashtra got to hear the Bhagavad Gita? So
So
basically, what Bhagavad Gita we are reading right now is basically not actually spoken by the Krishna. It is actually spoken by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra, right?
yes, but it is not like Krishna didn't speak.
No, no,
Uh,
Krishna did speak. Krishna did
ha.
speak, but
So those
whatever he
exact,
hears,
yeah. So all the exact words that Krishna spoke, that Sanjaya is telling him. Okay, like
Mhm, mhm,
Sanjaya said. Okay, he's saying Sanjaya said. Okay, here,
mhm,
and then um, here. Then Sanjaya says Arjuna said. So now he's
mhm,
telling what Arjuna said, and then he says, then Sanjaya said. Then in the next chapter is where Krishna speaks. The Supreme
mhm.
Personality of Godhead said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So Sanjay is telling the exact dialogues of what Krishna spoke. So we are not getting missing anything. Okay.
Okay, okay, fine. Yes, yes.
But he is talking with Dhritarashtra. We need to understand.
Hmm.
Right?
Right,
So
right.
those dialogues are there. And then he
Hmm.
inserts the actual Bhagavad Gita in his conversation with Dhritarashtra.
Yeah, so
And that
after
ins
hearing Bhagavad,
yeah. So
so after hearing Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra would have started hating more to Krishna instead of, because he has actually ordered that Arjuna, that you have to fight and you have to kill all of them. And so, it's like because all of his son is going to die, right?
so Dhritarashtra wanted Duryodhan to win. Even if the war
Yeah, exactly.
happened, he wanted Duryodhan to win.
Hmm.
But Duryodhan kept losing. All his 99 brothers, his grandfather,
Hmm.
teacher, and the end Karna, and then he had
Yeah.
left nothing, so he ran away. So that's the story anyway. So So one thing is, we are definitely hearing what Krishna said, but in the dialogue between Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra.
Hmm.
Just like, you may
Right.
come at home and you may say, you may talk with somebody, with your wife, and then you'll say, no, no, that person said this thing. Then the other person said this thing. So you are telling the
Right.
exact words what the other two people said in a discussion with your wife. So you're
Hmm.
not you're not changing what they said, right?
Yeah,
You're just
exactly. Correct.
inserting the real. So the Bhagavad Gita is inserted in the dialogue between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. It is not adulterated. It is not changed. It is spoken as it is. Hmm?
Hmm.
Okay. So
Right.
and these chapters, the division and all that were done by Vyasadeva. So Krishna didn't say chapter 2 ended, now I'll start speaking chapter 3. No, he just kept
Yeah.
speaking. It was Vyasadeva
Hmm.
who analyzed these verses, and he said, oh, this particular section is questions of Arjuna. This particular section is, chapter 2,
Hmm.
summarization of Bhagavad Gita. Here chapter 3 starts. Here chapter 3 ends. So he did the division. Krishna didn't do this division. So Vyasadeva did this.
Hmm. And one more question, like you said that Sanjaya is actually speaking.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Uh, it I can understand that that he. I mean, in general, if for example, if I I go and I'll say someone else that actually the whatever Bhagavad Gita that I'm having in my hand is actually not the exact exact Bhagavad Gita that Krishna actually it is. I know that it is, but I will not be able to convince the other person that this is the Bhagavad Gita that was Krishna has spoken, because it is not actually. It is actually spoken by the Sanjaya. If I'll tell him that that is how it is, so
No, no, no,
this is
no,
like.
no, no. See, the way it is explained is a peon, sorry, let's say a postman. He comes to your home and he delivers money to you by money. What is that? MoneyGram or
Money uh, money order.
money order? Yeah. So does it mean that if the money order was of 5,000 rupees, did he give you 4,000 rupees? No, he gives you the exact amount 5,000 rupees. Does it become contaminated, changed, adulterated, reduced, or
So,
enlarged? No.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So the message is wrapped in a protective layer and given to us. So
Yeah,
Sanjaya
but that.
is, just let me finish. Sanjaya is actually a very um, saintly person.
Hmm.
Sanjaya is not a common person. He's a saintly person, and he was very devoted to Krishna. So he was given the
Yeah,
task to speak this Bhagavad Gita
yeah.
to
Okay.
Rashtra.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is what I wanted to hear. Like,
yeah, yeah.
because
So,
you take an
hmm, hmm, hmm.
example of the postman. The postman, he has that responsibility because a government is paying salary to him, and if he
Yeah, he
cheat
remains
or
true.
he
He remains
he
true to
remains
his
true.
job.
Yeah, true to
He's
his job.
he's
And
transparent. He's
yeah,
transparent also. So if something is
hmm,
transparent, and even if there are 14 layers, but all 14 layers are transparent, you will still see the sun as bright as one will see without the transparent sheets. Getting?
yeah,
Same
yeah.
same way. So all the acharyas, let me, yeah. So we have all the acharyas in the line, right?
Hmm, hmm. Fine. Got it.
Introduction, end of the introduction. See, all the acharyas are there, no, here, starting with Krishna. They give the knowledge.
Okay,
Krishna gives the knowledge to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Vyasa. Like this, Madhva. Madhva is Madhvacharya of Udupi. He
hmm,
appeared. See, Vyasa is 5,000 years ago. Madhvacharya appeared almost 1,000 years ago. So all this knowledge is
hmm,
coming as it is to us, because all of these are like transparent mediums. They are like postmen, and
hmm,
they will give us the knowledge in a protective layer. That's it. They won't change it.
hmm,
They will give it as it is. What they will add is purports. So the real thing is
Mhm.
here, they will explain more. Getting?
Okay. Yeah, understood.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. So, yeah, let's see if we can finish this one first verse here. Hmm? The Supreme Personal Godhead said Krishna has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul. Okay, he recommends okay inertia. We were at the point of inertia. Inertia means not doing anything. So some people think spiritual life is not doing anything, but no. After hearing the most important knowledge of spirituality, that is Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was not inertia. He was the most active in a battlefield. Okay, killing people. Therefore, it's a misunderstanding that often one withdraws to secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of the Lord Krishna. But without being trained in philosophy of the Krishna consciousness, it's not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place. So first we need to get trained in the philosophy. First we need to do karma yoga. Now you're understanding why we need to do karma yoga? Because it is not inertia, it is to be active. And otherwise, what will happen is if you're not able to be active in spiritual life, then it will be only a cheap adoration for the innocent public. What does that mean is there are so many spiritual people, so-called spiritual people, they think, okay, I have to be inertia. I don't have to do anything. And what happens is they don't know what to do in that inertia state. Spiritual life is very active. So they become peaceful by doing the meditation, but then they have to do something, right? So they start doing all other activities, altruism activities, like opening hospitals, opening this building, that building, you know, and they get deviated from spiritual path. So because they are not trained in the philosophy, they don't know what is to be done at that point. So best is to know what is real karma yoga and then advance yourself to such a state that even in a state of seclusion means in a very quiet place, you're all alone, you know what is to be done, then you can remain alone. But if you don't, if you're not trained only, then if you're alone, then gone, then it's like a monkey, jumping here and there. And that's why we see some spiritualists, they don't know, they're not trained, and then they come back to the material world. In sense, they come back to material activities and they start doing scams and abuses and so many other things. They think spirituality is to earn money, and they collect they no, no, मी चाललो ना. So then um yeah, I was talking about abuses and scams, right? So they get deviated from spiritual life and they look back and come back into material life and they start cheating people because they don't know what is to be done in spiritual life. They have no idea. So this is the misunderstanding. Okay, this is a very bigger misunderstanding. So Arjuna also thought Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence, spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement. It's like a retirement, some people think, from active life and practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. Oh, I have to take to spiritual life, so I don't need to do material life. I don't need to do my material duty of fighting. This was an excuse that he was trying to bring. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master. He didn't try to escape on his own. This is a very interesting question. He tried to get confirmation from Krishna. Krishna, I think, you know what, you're telling me to keep this abominable activities away, and I'm also thinking that let me do that. And and then he didn't do it very silently. He actually asked his teacher Krishna, am I doing this right? Is this the right understanding? You're telling me to fight and you're telling me to be inertia also. Is this the right understanding? So this is a sincere student. Sincere student won't he won't try to cheat his teacher. He won't cheat his teacher. Okay. So he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna to be the best course of action. What is the best thing to be done? In this answer, Krishna explained karma yoga, work in Krishna consciousness, and this is the third chapter. We have still 7 minutes. So he's still questioning. Vyami Shrevaneva Vakyena Buddhim Mohoyasya me Tadekam Vada Nischita Yena Shreyo Aham Apuneyam. My intelligence is bewildered by a equivocal instruction. Your words, Krishna, are equivocal. Equivocal means they are ambiguous. They are kind of more than interpretation. It's like a specification that we read in our companies, One engineer thinks this way, other engineer thinks that way. Right? This keeps happening. And then they code something and it doesn't work. Then they come back and say, no, spec says this thing. The other says, no, that this is not what it says. It means this way. The other keeps saying, no, it is that way. And then then they go to the architect and ask, what is the real way? Then the architect says, no, it is this way. And then they say, oh, okay, I wrongly thought it is this way, that way. And then they come back, they recode it, and then it starts working. So for Arjun also same thing, equivocal statement, ambiguous. It can mean multiple things. So what is the best? What is the best instance? You tell me decisively what is most beneficial for me. What is most beneficial for me? You tell me that. Okay, we can finish this also. In the previous chapter, as a prelude to Bhagavad Gita, many different paths. So Krishna definitely spoke many paths: Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, position of a neophyte. This was all presented unsystematically. Too many things told in one chapter. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for actions and understanding. So you need some organization. That's why the later chapters come into picture. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up this apparent confusing matter so that any common man could accept them without interpretation. So these chapters are meant for us because we may think something else. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jigglery words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his questions, he's clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. So definitely there is some mystery of Bhagavad Gita, and to understand that clearly, Arjuna is asking these questions. 3.3. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lokesmin Dvividaha Nishtha Purva Prokta Mayagnaha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. So he also understands. I gave him Gyan Yoga, I gave him Sankhya Yoga, I gave him Karma Yoga. So Krishna says, the Supreme Personality God said, "Oh sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Okay, we are all trying for Atma Sakshatkar, self-realization. Some are inclined to understand by empirical, philosophical speculations, others by devotion service. So there are few of them who will be after philosophy and after knowledge. They will try to understand it by that perspective. And some will understand it by devotional service. Service means what? What is the essence of service? If I ask you, what is the essence of service? Serve. What is the essence of serve? Serve, service. What does this actually mean? What does it signify? Please serve me this dish. Servant. What does this actually mean? What is the most important thing that is happening here? Is this inertia?
Maybe that we, by doing some action.
Action,
Uh,
yeah. So there is always some action. So those who are doing philosophical speculation, empirical speculation, their action is on the intellectual level. But when it comes to devotion service, this action is on practical level. with hands and legs and all the senses. We'll just go to the next verse for the time being. Not by merely abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone one can attain perfection. So Krishna understands he's trying to remove the work from the picture, but he's saying that it is not possible. And then he recommends that one should work also. If I take you to the third chapter,
So, Prabhuji, I have one question.
yeah, just so in the seventh verse he says one should control his senses and begin karma yoga. This is far by superior. So Krishna recommends to do karma yoga. Okay, perform your prescribed duty. That is better because we have to maintain our physical body with the, and it cannot be done without work. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. Let's open up for questions. Yeah, Sandeep, ask questions. What question you have here?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Sankhya Yoga is I'm not able to understand fully. So, Sankhya in Sanskrit is like a Ganit, right? I mean, the Sankhya,
Hmm.
right? So now I understand the Bhakti Yoga. So how it's a part of Bhakti Jnana Yoga. It's taking the Tattva Jnana and move forward, right? So how this Sankhya Yoga actually contains the same. Means I didn't understand with respect to the actions or
Yeah,
the things that we are going to follow in the Sankhya Yoga.
see the word Sankhya means actually to count also.
Mhm.
Hmm? So what does this mean is to classify. So in this there is a empirical philosophical way using intelligence, observation. Yeah. So I'm talking about Sankhya, what they generally do. They use intelligence, observation, um, argument, speculation, and they start looking at this world and they say, am I this hand? Am I this body? So whatever is there in this world, each and every object, they start questioning what is this real object means. Is that me? Hmm?
Okay.
Is that me? They start questioning all these things.
Okay. Okay.
And so examples of those who do this is Gyaneshwar from Maharashtra. Gyaneshwar Maharaj. I'm spelling Gyanesh. The four Kumaras. These are the Munis. There are many Munis there, but they use this way. So this is a very small number of um, what to say spiritualists. Why? Because you have to use your intelligence
Intelligence. Yeah.
and you have to do philosophical speculation and all that. Common person cannot do this kind of philosophical speculation, right?
Mm.
So for them, the path of karma yoga is mentioned, bhakti yoga is mentioned,
Mm.
where one actively engages his senses in the service of the Lord, like chanting, serving, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, deity worship. You see, these are physical activities. So common people, most of the people can do this. And when they do it for Krishna, it that karma yoga transforms into bhakti yoga. There is bhakti added to it.
Yeah, understand.
So yeah, so this is the thing. So Arjuna thought, oh, I have to be like this. The Munis and the Kumaras and the Sadhus not do anything. But Krishna says, no, 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 no. You have to do this. Using your practical work, you have to serve the Supreme by offering the results. So all activities, like his activity was fighting, he will offer it in Krishna's service. Whatever our duty is, if you offer it in Krishna's service, that is bhakti. Getting? Understanding?
Yes, 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 Prabhuji. Yeah.
Any other question?
Yeah, I don't have
Okay.
any questions, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay. So